Most people don't destroy their BYD in a crash. They destroy it in their own driveway, a little every single night, without ever knowing it. I've watched people who've owned EVs for years, people who think they've got this figured out, make the same quiet mistake every night, until a battery that costs as much as a used car finally explains it. These are the quiet ones. No warning light, no error code, just damage that compounds. We're going through 15 today. The last few cost you the most, and they're the easiest to fix. Mistake number 15, never letting the battery hit 100%. Let's open with one that trips up even careful owners, because it sounds like the opposite of good advice. You've probably heard you should keep an EV around 80% and never charge it full. For most EVs, that's right, but BYD uses lithium iron phosphate cells, LFP. The blade battery and LFP plays by slightly different rules. And here's the twist most people never get told. Your BYD actually needs to hit a full 100% every so often. Not every day, but roughly once a week. Here's why. On LFP chemistry, the car's computer struggles to accurately read how much charge is left in the battery when it never sees a full charge. Keep it stuck between 30 and 80% forever, and the range estimate slowly drifts out of sync with reality. Owners start seeing their range readout jump around or suddenly drop, and they panic, thinking the battery is dying. It usually isn't. The battery is fine. The car has just lost track of itself. Charging to a full 100% lets the system recalibrate and get its numbers straight. So once a week, take it to full, ideally right before a longer drive, so you actually use that charge instead of letting it sit. Do that, and your range readout stays honest. Skip it forever, and you'll spend months confused by a number that was never broken. Mistake number 14, leaving your charge limit at 100%. This is the big one, and it's the flip side of what we just covered, so pay close attention because these two work together. Your BYD very likely left the factory with its charge limit set to 100%. And most owners never change it. That default is one of the fastest ways to age your battery that exists. Now, BYD uses lithium iron phosphate cells, and those are genuinely more tolerant of high charge than the older lithium-ion chemistry in a lot of other EVs. That's real, but tolerant does not mean immune. Sitting at a full 100% charge night after night, doing nothing, puts sustained stress on those cells that compounds over months into gradual capacity loss. The range that was 400 kilometers quietly becomes 370, then 350, and there's never a fault code to explain it. So here's how the two rules fit together, because people get confused. For your daily charging, set the limit to 80%. About once a week, take it to a full 100 right before a drive to let the battery recalibrate, then use that charge. What you never want is the car sitting at a full 100% for hours or days with no plan to drive it. Daily 80, occasional 100 that you actually use. That one habit is the difference between a battery holding strong capacity at 100,000 kilometers and one that's lost a serious chunk of its range. It costs nothing, and it starts working tonight. Mistake number 13, leaning on DC fast charging every day. The charge limits are sorted, but how you charge matters just as much as how much. DC fast charging is one of the best things about owning a BYD. It's fast, it's convenient, and the network keeps growing. It's also one of the quickest ways to age your battery if you lean on it every single day. Fast charging forces a huge amount of current into the battery in a very short time, and that generates heat. Heat during charging is one of the primary drivers of long-term battery degradation. BYD's thermal management system handles it well, better than most, but it cannot erase the effect completely. Cells simply age faster under repeated fast charge cycles than they do on slow overnight AC charging. I know of an Auto 3 owner who fast charged 5 times a week because he had no home setup. By 55,000 kilometers, his battery had aged like a 90,000 kilometer car that had been charged gently at home. He effectively doubled his battery's age in under 2 years, and none of it was recoverable. A home AC charger would have cost him under $1,000. Use fast charging for road trips and emergencies. Use home AC charging for everything else. Your battery, 4 years from now, will show the difference in the one number you care about: range. Mistake number 12. Treating the TPM's light as your tire check reminder. Here's one almost every new owner gets wrong, and it's not really about the battery at all. Your tire pressure warning light, the TPMS, is not a maintenance tool. It's a last resort alarm. It only comes on when a tire is already significantly underinflated. That word, significantly, is doing a lot of heavy lifting. By the time that light appears on your dash, the tire has already been running hot and wearing unevenly for a while. Tires naturally lose around 1 psi a month, and more in cold weather. Being 4 or 5 ps, ILO does quiet damage to both the tire and your suspension long before any warning ever shows up. And on a heavy EV, which a BYD is, because of the battery pack, that underinflation wears tires faster and eats into your range at the same time. The correct pressure is on a sticker inside the driver's door jamb, not on the tire sidewall. And on cars like the Atto 3 and Seal, the front and rear pressures are often different, so check both. Grab a proper gauge and spend 3 minutes on it once a week. Better range, longer tire life, sharper handling, and suspension that doesn't wear out early. Every one of those saves you money. Mistake number 11. Driving for weeks without setting up the app. Most new BYD owners drive the car for a week, sometimes a month, before they open the app properly. That's weeks of missed protection. The app gives you remote control over climate, charging, and locking, but the feature that matters most is preconditioning. Set a departure time and the car warms or cools the interior before you walk out and brings the battery to its ideal operating temperature before your first kilometer. Here's the part people miss. Precondition while the car is still plugged in, and all that heating and cooling runs on grid power. Skip it, and it runs on your battery instead, draining range before you've left the driveway and putting the battery to work cold, which is harder on it. On a freezing morning, that difference is significant. 15 minutes to download the app, pair it, and set a departure time. It changes how the car works for you permanently and protects the battery every cold morning you own it. Mistake number 10. Never dialing in your regenerative braking. Regenerative braking is one of the most useful features in your BYD and one of the least understood. Most owners leave it on some middle default setting and never touch it again. That leaves real range and real money on the table. When you lift off the accelerator, the electric motor spins in reverse and turns your momentum back into charge for the battery. Set it to its stronger level, and in city traffic, you can bring the car almost to a complete stop just by lifting your foot, barely touching the brake pedal at all. On the Atto 3, Seal, and Dolphin, you can adjust this through the drive mode settings. Here's the money part. Because you're using the physical brakes so much less, your brake pads and rotors last dramatically longer. I've known BYD owners to sail past 40,000 kilometers on their original brake pads purely because they mastered one-pedal driving in their first month. It feels completely natural within a week, and it can save you an entire brake service over the life of the car. On top of the range, you claw back. Mistake number 9. Assuming an EV is maintenance-free. This is the belief that quietly destroys more BYDs than almost anything else, so let's kill it right now. A lot of new owners assume that with no combustion engine, there's basically nothing to service. No oil changes, so nothing to do. That assumption causes real expensive problems. Your BYD still needs its brake fluid replaced, usually every 2 years, because brake fluid absorbs moisture over time no matter what powers the car. It needs cabin filter changes, tire rotations, and suspension inspections. And critically, it has a coolant loop that manages the temperature of the battery and the motor, and that coolant needs periodic inspection and eventual replacement. None of this is optional. An Atto 3 came into a shop with a battery cooling fault at 68,000 kilometers. The coolant had never once been inspected. A partially blocked cooling circuit had been running warm for months, slowly cooking the thing it was supposed to protect. The repair was over $1,800. The coolant service that would have prevented it costs around $150. Book your scheduled service on time. Electric does not mean maintenance-free. If you're getting value out of this, do me a favor. Hit the like button, drop a comment telling me which of these you've been guilty of, Subscribe if you haven't yet, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. It genuinely helps the channel, and I read every single comment. Mistake number 8. Ignoring the 12-volt battery until it strands you. Here's one that catches BYD owners completely off guard because most don't know it exists. Alongside that giant main pack, every BYD also runs a small conventional 12-volt battery, the same kind a gas car uses, powering the locks, the computers, the wake-up sequence. When it weakens, the symptoms look bizarre. The car might fail to wake up, lock and unlock inconsistently, or throw a whole cluster of unrelated-looking warnings at once. A Dolphin owner once got 4 warning lights simultaneously and assumed something major had failed. The cause was a single 12-volt battery below its threshold. One replacement fixed all 4. If your car starts behaving strangely on wake-up or throws a scatter of odd warnings, don't drive through it for 3 days hoping it clears. Look it up the same day. A weak 12-volt battery is cheap. Being stranded by one is not. Mistake number 7. Driving through battery and system warnings. This follows straight on because BYD talks to you in 2 places and new owners miss both. Your car flags problems through the dashboard cluster and through in-app notifications. Owners routinely miss the app alerts because notifications were never switched on and ignore the dashboard warnings because the car still drives fine. But a high voltage warning or a battery management warning is never something to drive through. These systems monitor cell temperatures and insulation resistance in real time, and the window between an early warning and a serious expensive repair can be very short. Enable every push notification in the app right now. Then the moment a warning appears on the screen or your phone, look it up that same day. On the systems protecting your most expensive component, waiting is the worst thing you can do. Mistake number 6. Running it down to near empty, then letting it sit. We spent a lot of time on the top of the battery. The bottom is where people get careless because they assume LFP just doesn't care. It cares. Regularly running your BYD down towards single-digit % and especially letting it sit there for days is a quiet way to hurt the pack. When the battery gets very low, the cells are under a different kind of stress, and if the car sits near empty long enough, the main pack keeps slowly self-draining just to power its own background systems. Push that far enough, for long enough, and you risk over-discharging the pack, which is the one battery state that can do real, sometimes unrecoverable damage. Here's the version that catches people out. They park the car at 5% before flying off on a 2-week holiday, figuring they'll charge it when they're back. Exactly wrong. If the car's going to sit, leave it around 50%, not scraping the bottom. Day to day, treat 10 to 20% as your floor, the same way you'd never make a habit of running your phone flat every night. The battery pays you back in the one number that matters, range that holds. Mistake number 5. Parking with a security system you forgot to switch on. Here's a mistake that costs you nothing until the exact moment it costs you hundreds of dollars, and it's sitting in your car right now, switched off. Your BYD's external cameras aren't just for parking. On current models, including the Atto 3, Seal, and Celian 6, they can record while the car is parked and completely switched off. A built-in Sentry system watching every side of your car. And the overwhelming majority of owners drive for months or the entire time they own the car without ever turning it on. So when someone keys the door, backs into the bumper, or dings it in a lot and drives off, there's no footage, and the repair comes straight out of your pocket. A Seal owner got door dinged in a car park and assumed there was no way to prove who did it. As it happened, the previous owner had left parking surveillance enabled. The whole thing was captured, and the person responsible was still in the lot when the owner walked back. The only reason that ended well is that a feature was switched on. Go into Vehicle Settings, find the camera menu, enable parking surveillance, and make sure there's a USB or SD card installed, whatever format the manual specifies, before you need it. It works silently every single time you walk away. Mistake number 4. Flooring it the second you get in on a cold morning. This one's almost too satisfying to resist, which is exactly why people do it. Your BYD makes full torque instantly from the first second. No warm-up, no revs. So on a cold morning, the temptation is to jump in and bury the accelerator right away because it's fun and the car lets you. But a cold battery is a stressed battery. When the pack is cold, its internal resistance is higher, it physically can't deliver full power safely yet. And slamming a huge current demand through cold cells is genuinely hard on them, and on the motor and driveline before anything's up to temperature. Your car actually protects itself here. It limits power when the battery is cold, which is why your BYD sometimes feels slower first thing in the morning. That's not a fault. That's the car defending its own battery. The fix ties back to a mistake we already covered. Precondition through the app while it's still plugged in so the battery's warm before you drive. And if you didn't, just go gently for the first few minutes and let everything warm up before you ask for everything it's got. The launches will still be there. Your battery will still be healthy when you use them. Mistake number 3. Blasting a pressure washer where you shouldn't. Everyone washes their car. Almost nobody thinks about the fact that an EV has high voltage areas a gas car simply doesn't. Your BYD is extremely well sealed and designed to handle rain and puddles, so you don't need to be scared of washing it. But there's a difference between washing it and firing a high-pressure jet straight at the charge port, the underbody seams, or the areas around where the battery pack meets the body. A strong enough jet, aimed at the wrong seal over and over, can force water past seals that were only ever built to shrug off rain, not a pressure washer held 6 inches away. Water where high-voltage electronics live is the one place you never want it. And there's a second half people miss entirely. Your BYD has cooling intakes and drainage channels that have to stay clear to keep the battery and motor at the right temperature. Pack them with leaves, mud, or debris, and you're quietly choking the cooling system that protects your most expensive component. So keep the jet at a sensible distance. Don't blast directly into charge ports and seals. And every so often, check the intakes and drains underneath aren't clogged. A minute of care protects thousands of dollars of electronics. Mistake number 2. Dismissing the software update for months. Here's a mistake with no equivalent on an old gas car, and people wave it off as trivial. It isn't. Think about what a software update on a BYD actually is. It's not just a new menu layout. These updates regularly change how the car manages the battery itself, how it charges, how it balances the cells, how it protects the pack from heat, which means the manufacturer has quietly figured out how to make your battery last longer or charge smarter, and they're handing it to you for free. Dismiss that prompt for 6 months, and you're running the most important system in your car on outdated logic, while the fix just sits there. And there's a catch people don't think about. Sometimes an update is a genuine safety or recall fix pushed over the air, the kind of thing that used to mean a trip to the dealer. Keep swiping it away because the car has to sit still for 20 minutes, and you might be ignoring a fix that actually matters. When one's available, plug in overnight, park somewhere safe, and let it install while you sleep. You paid for a car that gets better over time. Stop stopping it. Mistake number 1. Keeping no service records. And the number 1 mistake ties everything on this list together because it's the one that protects you when something does go wrong. It takes 10 minutes, and it can be worth the price of the entire battery pack. Keep a record of everything done to your car. It doesn't need to be fancy. A note on your phone, a spreadsheet, a notebook in the glove box. Date, mileage, what was done, where, and what it cost. That's all it needs to be. Here's why it matters so much on a BYD specifically. The battery is covered by a long warranty, and it's the most expensive component in the car by a huge margin. If you ever have to make a battery warranty claim, documented service history is the difference between that claim being approved and being denied on the grounds of neglect. An owner I know of had a battery warranty issue reviewed by BYD with complete service records from day one, approved within a week. Another owner at the same dealership, same fault, no records at all, was tied up for months. A note on your phone costs you nothing. What it can protect is worth as much as the single most expensive part of your car. At the start of this video, I told you your BYD wasn't going to die in a crash. It was going to die a little every night, in your own driveway, and you wouldn't feel it until the day you tried to sell it. Now you know exactly how that happens. The charge limit sitting at 100% every night, the daily fast charging out of pure habit, the battery you keep running near empty, the coolant nobody inspected, the update you kept swiping away. None of it announces itself. All of it compounds. But here's the good news buried in all of this. The BYDs that hold strong range at year 5, the ones with a battery that still does what it did on day 1 and a warranty claim that gets approved without a fight, they're not special. They're not the lucky ones. They just had owners who set the charge limit, opened the app, and treated the most expensive part of the car with the respect the engineers built into it. Your battery wants to last. Help it. That's 15 mistakes, and I'd bet at least one of them made you go, yeah, I need to sort that out. If it did, good. That's exactly what this channel is for. Drop a comment below and tell me which one hit closest to home. No judgment here. Half of these are things nobody ever tells you when you drive the car off the lot. And if there's a mistake you think I missed, I want to hear it. If you're new to Motor Zen, welcome. This is the channel for people who actually care about what they drive, whether it's your first EV or your 5th car. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And speaking of what's next, if this got you thinking about long-term battery health, you're going to want to watch my breakdown of exactly how to charge a BYD for the maximum possible battery lifespan, the full routine, start to finish. It's up next. Drive safe. See you there.